Hello and welcome to House and TV News at the top of the hour, coming to you from our studios here in the nation's capital. I am Mimi Tondu. Our top stories. Federal government to develop Abuja grazing reserves, advance livestock reforms. Federal government's blueprints to map Nigerian on course. Kaduna residents lament soaring rent rising building costs amid Nigeria's housing deficit. Now the foreign scene, four arrested after Trump Epstein images projected onto Britain's Windsor Castle. Now the news in detail. The Federal Ministry of Livestock Development has reaffirmed its commitment to end open grazing by accelerating the development of 3 grazing reserves in Abuja as models for nationwide adoption. Speaking at the 2025 media retreat in Kaduna, the Minister of Livestock Development, Idi Meha, assured that all animals roaming city centers across the country will be relocated to designated reserves. The minister emphasized that the ministry focus on replicating the country's grazing reserves is not a new pronouncement but a clear direction that has been pursued consistently over the past months, noting that 3 grazing reserves in Abuja have been embarked for accelerated development. The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Livestock Development, Dr. Chinyere Ijoma Akujobi, while welcoming participants to the retreat, reiterated the critical role of strategic communication in driving livestock growth and shaping public perception of government initiatives. Represented by the Director, Remnants and Monogastric Development, Victor Egbon, the Permanent Secretary expressed confidence that the retreat would strengthen partnerships, enhance reporters' skills, and amplify the narrative of opportunities and transformation within Nigeria's livestock sector. The retreat also featured a field visit to Zaidi farms, where participants had first-hand interaction with the realities of livestock infrastructure and able to appreciate the sector's complexities and opportunities. The Surveyor General of the Federation, Surveyor Adeyemi Adebomehi, has reaffirmed that the federal government's blueprint to comprehensively map Nigeria is progressing, insisting that those threatening legal action over the movement of the Office of the Surveyor General of the Federation to the presidency are only challenging a presidential directive. Adebomehin made the remarks while hosting members of the Nigerian Institution of Surveyors, Abuja branch, in his office. He revealed that the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu took keen interest in the mapping project after learning that the last nationwide mapping of Nigeria was carried out in the 1970s. The SUF described the development as a turning point for the profession. Highlighting recent projects, Adebomehin disclosed that his office, in collaboration with the Minister of Works, Engineer David Umahi, recently inspected a coastal bridge in Lagos where the federal government plans to construct a tunnel linking Victoria Island to Badagry, the first of its kind in Africa. In his vote of thanks, Surveyor Robert Kuka, head of the Hydrographic at Office of the Surveyor General of the Federation, echoed the position of the Surveyor General, noting that opposing the movement of the office to the presidency was tantamount to resisting presidential authority. He urged surveyors to protect the image of the profession and mentor younger practitioners. Away from that story, the Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Innovation, Science and Technology, Mrs. Eswebana Nko Asanyi, has said that science, technology, engineering, and mathematics is the gateway to socio-economic development of any nation. Mrs. Eswebana, who was represented by Overseeing Director Science, Technology, and Promotion, Dr. Victor Fadigbe, at the first science fair and exhibition of Federal Capital College of Education, School of Science, Zuba, Abuja, stated that the choice of the theme innovation, a quest to survive in a challenging world, apt saying nations that fail to embrace science, technology, and innovations are inevitably left behind. The Permanent Secretary pointed out that the research and development is the bedrock that gives rise to gross domestic product, emphasizing the need to invest in research and development as well as inculcate the habits of creativity as well to have a technology that can sustain and build a valuable economy for the nation. The Chairman, House Committee on Colleges of Education, Honorable Adamu Tanko, and other invited guests and dignitaries commended the initiative, saying Nigeria is committed to innovation, science, and technology as a way to alleviate hundreds of millions of people out of poverty. The exhibition produced 3 best departments of the college and secondary school, which includes the biology department, computer science department, and physics departments. Now, the office and men of the Nigerian police force has been admonished to remain absolutely professional, disciplined, and approachable, as well as showing empathy in dealing with the public. The newly posted Assistant Inspector General of Police in charge of Zone 3, Akinwale Kunle Adeniran, made a call during his familiarization visit to the Adamawa State Police Command Headquarters, Yola. He explained that Nigerians are not police enemies, believing that they are not fighting the police, rather they are police partners who are working for a similar goal of checkmating insecurity in the country.
To our amiable AIGs, we wish to express our deepest gratitude and appreciation for leaving the comfort of your office despite your tight schedule to visit our command for the purpose of interacting with us. We will remain loyal, dedicated, and committed in the fight against crime and criminality to ensure the peace being enjoyed in the state is maintained. We pledge to work diligently and to uphold the highest standard of professionalism and accountability in building a safer Adamawa state.
According to the AIG, the aim of the familiarization visit is to deepen collaboration between police and the good people of the Adamawa state in addressing crimes such as farmer-herder clash, kidnapping, drug abuse, and other emerging security challenges. Speaking earlier, the Adamawa State Commissioner of Police, Dankobo Morris, emphasized that the police relationship with members of the public has been very cordial, hence building stronger community policing with all stakeholders to ensure a peaceful coexistence between farmers and other communities concerned. He noted that during the period under the review, the command has carried out a series of raiding operations of criminals' hideouts and black spots, which led to the arrest of high-profile suspects and recovered 11 AK-47s, 5 locally made pistols, computers, and mobile handsets, among others.
Adamawa is a home of peace. I've seen it. Peace-loving people, blessed with rich cultural heritage and diversity, with over 70 ethnic groups and 2 major religions coexisting peacefully. The people of this state are known for their hospitality, resilience, and hard work. Yola, as the seat of Lamido, has historically played a unifying role in this region. I sincerely appreciate the warm reception extended to me and my officers.
The Senior Special Advisor on Security and Community to the Governor, Ahmed Lawa, who represented Governor Amadou Fintiri, applauded the cordial relationship between the police and the government, saying it has sustained peace and harmony in the state. Governor Fintiri, however, promised to embark on the renovation of the command structures aimed at providing a conducive environment for the police and their families.
The Adamawa State government, our relationship with the police Adamawa is cordial. We are always working hand in hand to make sure that our people are living in peace. Governor Amadou Fintiri, his first priority is security. So that's why he's always working hand in hand with the Adamawa State Police Command to make sure we're sustaining the peace we're having in the state.
We take a pause here. Up next are the news from the beat sector.
Visit Housing TV Africa on YouTube and click on the subscribe button. Subscribe to Housing TV Africa to stay updated on latest happenings in Nigeria's housing sector. Follow our social media pages, like and share our posts. On Facebook, Housing TV Africa. On Twitter, Housing TV Africa. Instagram, Housing TV Africa.
Welcome back. Glad to have you join us on Housing TV News at the top of the hour. Now to the B sector. The Nigerian Institute of Town Planners has announced its upcoming 56th International Annual General Colloquium, scheduled for October 27th and 28th, 2025. The president of the institute, Dr. Chime Ogbonna, disclosed this during an interview with Housing TV correspondent Ajibola Ojelade. He promised the colloquium will focus on the urgent need to implement the 1992 Urban and Regional Planning Law, which has remained dormant for more than 3 decades. More in this report.
At the Institute headquarters in Abuja, preparations are in top gear ahead of the 56th International Annual General Colloquium holding at the Nikon Luxury Hotel Garki, Abuja. The president of the institute, Dr. Chime Ogbonna, said the international planning committees are working round the clock to make this year's event exceptional.
Our expectation is that Mr. President, I'm talking about the Commander-in-Chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, will be there to declare the conference open. Several other dignitaries are expected to be in attendance, many state governors, honorable ministers, and indeed all stakeholders in urban and regional planning. We expect all of them to grace the occasion. Additionally, the lead paper presenter will this time be coming from UK, and that the President, Royal Town Planning Institute of United Kingdom. She's a woman, a Nigerian, so we carefully appointed her to deliver the lead paper of the conference.
He further explained that the focus of the colloquium is the implementation of the Urban and Regional Planning Law of the 1992, which has yet to come into full operation despite its importance in guiding development nationwide.
Maybe for the first time in recent time, the Institute is hosting a national colloquium on the need to implement the Nigerian Urban and Regional Planning Law, promulgated since 1992, but not in operation. So we want to use that ceremony to herald the opening ceremony of the International Conference. Is going to be on the 27th of October this year, while the opening ceremony of the conference will be on the 28th. So it's carefully planned in such a manner that it will more or less give birth to the opening ceremony of the International Conference.
Dr. Chime further highlighted that one of the greatest challenges facing the profession is the non-enforcement of the existing planning laws at the federal and state levels. He therefore urged the federal government to intervene and ensure compliance, stressing that the proper urban planning remains vital for Nigeria's sustainable growth.
The major challenge is that Nigeria, as a country, is working without any town planning laws guiding our activities. And I can always tell you that without the town planner coming to play these roles, there would have been crises all over the world, all over settlements. But because the town planner is there, it guarantees order in the environment. We are supposed to have, in line with the provision of that law, the National Urban and Regional Planning Commission at the federal level. That commission will be constituted by town planners, architects, land surveyors.
With the theme refocusing planning administration towards sustainable urban governance and development, this year's colloquium is expected to chart a new path for effective urban planning in Nigeria, one that could transform cities into safer, more organized and sustainable spaces for all. Ajibola Ojelade reporting for Housing TV Africa, Abuja.
Moving forward, the residents of Kaduna State are raising concerns over the sharp rise in house rents and building materials, warning that the trend is worsening their living conditions in the face of economic hardship. They are calling on government to step in with strong housing policies to regulate the sector and bridge the widening housing gap across Nigeria. The cost of renting apartments in Kaduna has surged drastically. A self-contained apartment that once went for between 100,000 naira and 120,000 naira per year now costs between 500 and 600,000 naira. For many residents, survival under such conditions is becoming unbearable and harsh reality.
Talking about the issue of increments, uh, abysmal increments in house rents in recent times, I think it's a serious matter that a lot of Nigerians are not happy about. Considering the fact that uh, situation of things now, you don't expect like a help somebody built house several years ago and the parents just arbitrarily increasing the money every year. And of course, you can't really blame them. Some of them will tell you it's because of the cost of building materials, but we are not talking about new houses. We are talking about old houses. And basically, I think what is responsible for that is lack of, proper law to guide these guys. Because if you're looking at it, look at what Lagos is doing, for example, now that like every 3 years now, if I want to increase house rent, that should be every 3 years. And if you are doing that, it should be more than 5%. I think all the states across the country should be able to look into that and see what they can do to just make life, you can, because talking about where to lay edge should not take everything that you are working for in a year simply because you want to rent a house and somebody saying all your earning. In fact, it's very unfortunate where we are now. It's annoying.
Actually, honestly, the issue of house rent increment and other house building materials prices is something that is actually worrisome and bothering more people than ever. Considering the fact that most of these people that usually stays in those house rents are not people who are capable of coping up with the situation. In most cases, you find out that we know that the materials, the prices are going up, and most of these landlords not usually increase or agents increase the house rents. But when you look at the financial income of those people, it's still stable. It's not increasing. So how do you expect one to cope up when you find that life is so difficult and hard for most people? It doesn't count, and that is why in most cases when people are living in rural areas whereby uh, their life is not something to write about. So honestly speaking, coming to look at the situation, I think it should be good probably if there's a kind of price control or regulation. Well, my call or prayer to the government is that I hope they look into this issue, because honestly, sometimes it's not about the owners of the houses, but rather the agents they assign to this issue. So I believe they have an association or a forum that they are being guided with. So probably if the government can come into it, definitely there will be a kind of stable prices, because you find that a small house in some places whereby the house rent is high and the people around cannot cope up with it. So if the government cannot intervene into this issue, probably the issue might continue going up and rising, leaving people stranded on the street.
Civil servant, bricklayer, artisan and developer says the rent hike is tied to the soaring prices of building materials such as cement, blocks and sand, noting sharp increases have slowed construction and reduced daily job opportunities for artisans, leaving many families struggling to make ends meet.
We used to get work all the days, but the main problem is the addition of materials money. It makes us not to get plenty work as how we would been they get before. Before we go get work here, get work here, get work here, get work here, get work here. But these days it is being difficult for us to get work because the material are high. So the owners of the house, they cannot afford it. Even though they do, they will not pay us the money which we want from them. So it becomes our problem because if we don't get work, we cannot chop. So that is our main reason of complaining. So government should look into this adding of prices of everything. It's killing some of us that do daily job. So we are appealing to you, government.
So, like, what are the materials?
Like building materials. If you look at the cost of the gravel now, is almost 100,000, which is a trip. And the sharp sand is almost 30-something thousand. And it was not like that before. It was like 70. It was 7,000 and above. It was not even up to 10,000. But now it's about 30,000 a trip. And cement is almost 10,000 because it's a one bag. The bag is almost 10,000. So the owners of the houses, they are not able to call us for work again because of the addition of the material cost. It's too much on them that they cannot, even though they afford, our money will be less because the materials are taking everything.
Tenants are crying because a house you build in the 80s or 90s or even in the 20s above need maintenance. And you don't plug money from trees to go and maintain these houses. If you want your house to stand the test of time, you must be maintaining it. From time when it goes, when it stays for 10 years, it cracks. It does a lot of things. You need new painting and some other things. And even the floor, you have to also change it from time to time in order to suit with the present situation so that you can get more tenants.
Residents argue that addressing the housing gap requires long-term solutions, investment in social housing, affordable mortgages, and incentives for private developers to build low-cost homes. They believe strong policies and enforcement will ease the burden and guarantee shelter as a basic right. And now to Mina. Critical players in the housing sector in Mina, the Niger State capital, including building material sellers, have blamed government's inaction, lack of regulations of essential materials, and double taxation as key factors driving the state's growing housing deficit and rising rents. They also called on the federal government to urgently revive the Ajaokuta Steel Company and fix critical road infrastructure to ease the movement of building materials across the country. Niger State, located in north-central Nigeria, is experiencing rapid population growth due to its proximity to the federal capital territory, Abuja. With most of its residents being civil servants and farmers, the state faces increasing pressure on housing, widening the gap between demand and supply and pushing rents higher. A house owner and Mina residents Kunle Adeoye explained that rental costs vary widely depending on the area and type of apartment, but they remain significantly high compared to other states.
For Mina, if you want to collect like a beautiful house or areas, you get like 1.5, 2 million, but normal houses, and they talk about normal houses to manage, to keep your so like 150 self-containing, 200 self-containing, and 2-bedroom like 250, 300 for houses for Mina.
At the General Mama in Kotangora Building Materials Market in Mina, traders said the prices of essential materials such as cement have skyrocketed. The market chairman Mike Nwankwo attributed the trend to government's lack of political will to regulate major manufacturers and burden of multiple taxation on traders.
The number one material of building a house is cement. And the Nigerian government, in most times, they denied license to producers. They give license to, let's say, a person, and that person monopolize the production and the sales. One single person is selling something like cement to the whole millions of Nigerians, about 200 millions of Nigerians and more than. He woke up in the morning and they hide the price. Just imagine a bag of cement from 800 naira, 1,000, 1,2, 1,5, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. Now is 10,000 naira. It discourages the house builders. If you go into area in Mena, in this Niger State now, you will see abandoned houses. Not that the people that started building, they don't have intention of finishing it. They like to finish their house, but because of the high cost of building materials, they will stop. They will be forced to stop.
Meanwhile, the Niger State government has announced plans to collaborate with the Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development to bridge the housing deficit through the construction of mass housing units. Now, on to the foreign news. 4 people were arrested following a projection of image of Donald Trump alongside sex offender Jeffrey Epstein onto the Royal Windsor Castle, where the U.S. president is said to be hosted by King Charles during his state visit to Britain. Trump arrived in Britain's state visit and is to be greeted on a day of pomp at Windsor Castle, about 25 miles west of London. Earlier on Tuesday, protesters unfurled a massive banner featuring a photograph of Trump and Epstein near Windsor Castle and later projected several images of the two onto one of the castle's towers. The police said in a statement 4 adults were arrested on suspicious of malicious communications following an unauthorized projection at Windsor Castle, which they described as a public stunt. The 4 remain in custody. Democrats in the U.S. House of Representatives on September 8 made public a birthday letter Trump allegedly wrote to Epstein more than 20 years ago, though the White House has denied its authenticity. And that's how much we can take on housing TV news at the top of the hour. But before we go, a recap of the stories that made headlines. Federal government to develop Abuja grazing reserves, advance livestock reforms. Federal government blueprints to map Nigerian on course. Kaduna residents lament soaring rent, rising building costs amidst Nigerians' housing deficit. And on the foreign scene, 4 arrested after Trump Epstein images projected onto Britain's Windsor Castle. For more news in the housing sector, subscribe to Housing TV on YouTube and follow Housing TV on all social medias. Don't forget to download the Housing TV app on your Google Play Store and Apple Store. Many thanks for watching. I am Mimi Tondu. Bye for now.